welcome to the For Listeners program. Welcome aboard. Happy to have you with us this week. What up, everybody? I'm Spear. On the mics along with me, I have the Z-Man. What's up, Zeth?
There used to be a graying tower alone on the sea. You became the light on the dark side of me. Love remains a drug that's the high, not the pill. But did you know that when it snows, my eyes become large and the light that you shine can be seen? Oh, baby!
Oh, okay, all right.
You a kiss from a rose on the grave.
Oh, my God, dude.
Ooh, the more I get from...
Stop.
Okay, sorry.
It's like a bad American Idol audition.
That's
Stop.
what I would rather watch than listen to that.
Oh, my God.
Natalis says no.
No. Yeah, let's take a vote. He's not going to Hollywood. Holy shit.
Oh, you kidding, dog? Oh, come on, dog. I
No,
worked
you're
it
not
out.
going to Hollywood. Oh, my God. On the other mic, if he's still there, on the other mic, we have the illustrious Corey G. What is up, sir?
How you doing, buddy?
I don't know. My ears are kind of bleeding right now. Oh, man. All right, fine. I'm going to kick it back over to Zeth. Zeth, tell us what we got going on this week.
This week's Something Must Be Done is all about lack of originality in Hollywood. Everything is a sequel, a remake, a reboot, and there's just nothing coming out that's anything unique or original after, Avatar? Is that the last thing that came out that might have been considered unique?
Yeah, I mean, not even with Avatar, right? I mean, Avatar is probably the best example of how to use 3D to give a moviegoer an experience. But I can't call it original. It's Pocahontas with blue people. But I'll say one thing for the 3D. It was absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. So I'll give them the credit for originality there. But lately in Hollywood, it's been about sequels, remakes, and reboots, and it's so frustrating because you don't get anything original. The last thing that I saw that was original was Inception. The Christopher Nolan movie, the whole dream world movie. Did you guys see that?
Yeah.
Phenomenal, right? And it was truly an original idea about it. You go through the different levels of dreams and how you can affect different things within the dream world. And those are the kind of movies that that I'm interested in going out to see. I'm tired of seeing the same stories told over and over and over again. How many times can Hollywood go back to the well?
A lot.
Clearly.
Because you may not like it, but everybody else apparently does.
I really don't know who to lay the blame at here. Is it the writers and producers and people in Hollywood, or is it the movie-going public who just can't be challenged with anything in particular?
It's two of the three. And the only reason I say that is because I heard a story about the guy who did Black Swan and how he had to cut all sorts of shit and features and budgets and takes and all this stuff because he couldn't get money for it. And then afterwards, the studio's like, oh, we want all your extra outtakes and stuff for special features on the DVD. And he didn't have any because he didn't have any fucking money to film the thing in the first place.
Right. Now Black Swan's a big hit, so so it's going to be like Black Swan 2, right?
Yep.
Well, yeah. It's like, I mean, to relate it to football, it's like everybody doing their fucking Tom Brady quarterback experiment. I'm going to draft some no-name schlub and hope to turn him into a superstar just like Bill Belichick. So people can say I'm a super genius too.
But it's so hard. It's so hard to come up with a sequel to something. I mean, there are only so many sequels that have been better than their first movies. I mean, the list is short but distinguished. It's like The Dark Knight was better than Batman Begins. Terminator 2 was better than Terminator. Spider-Man 2 is better than the first Spider-Man movie, and we'll get back to Spider-Man in just a second. Probably the two best sequels ever created, The Empire Strikes Back and Godfather 2. I think both of those are lauded as the two best sequels ever made, and rightfully so.
Well, what I was getting at is that so they do something original, right? And it has some success. So what do? They copy it. And they copy it and they copy it, and that's all Hollywood does. Somebody takes a little bit of a gamble like Black Swan, and then people copy it to death.
Right, and then there's going to be ballet movies coming out of every goddamn direction now because people think that they want to go see ballet movies, right?
That's going to be the new hot trend,
Right.
It's going to turn into the car industry. And I think I said this before, you're going to have Spider-Man 2011, Spider-Man 2012, Spider-Man 2013, and it's just going to be tweaks and, refreshes and touch-ups like George Lucas does all the time, but it's going to be every year because nobody has any balls to invest in anything new.
Right. I mean, and Spider-Man is the best example of it right now. I mean, they just did a very successful run of Spider-Man movies like 5 minutes ago. And now they are literally rebooting it to go back to the beginning. So it's the origin story again. Now, and I ask you, these movies made hundreds of millions of dollars. They were huge movies, and they're rebooting it. It's like I just watched this movie 5 minutes ago. What are you doing? It's bullshit. It's bullshit. You do not need to remake this movie. So to go back to what Corey said, a few years ago, whenever Batman Begins came out, Chris Nolan showed how you can make a comic book movie that could be huge, right? That first Spider-Man movie that came out, it was huge. And all of a sudden now, Hollywood goes, comic books are the way to go. And then what? You ended up with more Spider-Man movies. You ended up with The Dark Knight. You ended up with Iron Man. And now you will get no less than 4 comic book movies this year. You just had the Green Hornet that just came out.
Thor,
Captain America, and Green Lantern.
Yeah.
And then
nobody ever liked Green Lantern.
I like Green Lantern.
What?
I like Green Lantern.
All right, boys, settle. The point is that over the course of the next few years, you're going to get, they redid the Hulk movie twice. You're going to get another Iron Man movie. You're going to get an Avengers movie. They rebooted X-Men. It's like it's crazy after a while. Can Hollywood do anything other than comic book movies?
No, not for the next decade.
Right, until they finally run out of comic book characters.
It's like a big school of fish. One fish moves, and then the whole giant thing goes the same way.
Right.
Let's go through our list. So we have two things we're pulling some information off of. We'll post we'll post the links up for both of them. We have one thing that's called the sequel map, which lists out every sequel or a lot of sequels on a chart that shows whether or not they grossed more money. How much money they grossed, and then whether or not it was better than its original based on its Rotten Tomato scores. Other than the ones that Spear had already mentioned, some of the other ones on this list that had done better than their originals are things like Toy Story 2, a lot of the kids' movies, actually. Toy Story 2, Rugrats in Paris, Madagascar 2, Stuart Little 2, Nanny McPhee and the Big Bang, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, and then some other stuff like Jackass 2 and Blade 2 and Adam Family Values, which I don't think anyone actually saw.
Yeah.
Apparently it was better than the first, which probably wasn't that hard. But we have another list that there's 75 movie remakes that are scheduled for soon if they haven't been out already. So 2011 remakes that I think we should address here, because some of them on this list of 75, I think I've identified 4 that I'd like to see. You guys can chime in. About 12 that I can't believe are even being considered, and then the rest I really have no opinion on. But The Crow. What's your guys' thoughts on redoing Crow?
That's sacrilege.
Sacrilege.
Not only did Bruce Lee's son die in the movie, it was fantastic.
It was the original. Yeah, the original was an amazing thing. The sequel and they had a third one that came out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they kind of got a little dark, a lot of weird. Definitely didn't catch me as much as The Crow did. Didn't really impress me as much, but I'd actually like to see what they're going to do with it. It's like they're trying to target the new generation. So most kids now have never seen The Crow.
Every time you want to do a reboot or a remake of some kind, it has to live up to, or it has to, at the very least, it has to compete with the one that came before it. And the people that will go to see these movies are largely going to be the same people that have some sort of affinity to the first one. The best example of this for me is The Karate Kid. It's The Karate Kid now for a new generation. You know, growing up, The Karate Kid was one of my favorite movies. And now they remade it, and I don't know how you do it without Mr. Miyagi. For me, Mr. Miyagi was just kind of classic and, kind of iconic. And as much as I love Jackie Chan, he's not Mr. Miyagi. And I just hate Will Smith's kid. I just, I'm not bringing my kid to go see the Karate Kid movie because I'm mad about it.
I think you're the exception there because I think most of the audiences are going to be exactly the opposite.
Yeah.
It's going to be like, hey, I love the Karate Kid as a kid. I'm going to bring my kid, and they're going to love it just as much as me. So another one I want to see, Flash Gordon. Flash Gordon, for me, I remember Flash Gordon. I remember the TV show. I remember the movies. I remember getting all excited when they started talking about it in, was it Queen? Queen does it, right?
Yeah, Queen, yeah.
So I'm excited to see what they're going to do because Flash Gordon, when it first came out, it was a cheesy-ass fucking movie. You could see the strings on the rocket strips as they're flying, as they're shooting them across the screen. It was done really, really low. Well, I don't know if it was low budget back then, but it would look low budget, low quality. There wasn't the special effects that you would have in a blockbuster, and I think they could really do something amazing with the special effects now. That I would actually be really excited to see Flash Gordon.
So I'm going to tell you why there's a problem with what you just said. Here's a movie that kind of has that cheese factor to it. The special effects are kind of lame, but you remember them, right? There's something that triggers something in your childhood. For me, that movie was Clash of the Titans. Clash of the Titans with the Harryhausen stop motion animation.
Oh yeah.
With those weird looking skeletons as they came up. I remember being scared to death of Medusa.
Medusa fucking scared the shit out of me, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then you go ahead and you see this remake that they did with all of the CG that they had at their disposal, right? And it sucked, dude. It sucked.
I didn't get to
The
see
only
it.
thing I'll give the sequel, the Kraken, was a lot more badass. But that's it.
So, I would be wary of a Flash Gordon remake or reboot for that precise reason. There's something, I don't know what the right word is. There's something romantic about the cheesiness of it all. These 70s movies and these early 80s movies that are the way they are. They were born of a certain time. They were born of a certain way of making movies. And there's something, I don't know, there's just something that kind of just brings you back. For me, Tron is the same way.
Yeah, I was going to write same thing, exactly the same thing. The memory of Tron is better than the movie.
No doubt. If you show Tron to somebody today who's never seen Tron before, and they'll watch it and they'll go, "What the hell is this about?" But when you watched it, when you were growing up, it was the first representation you had of the world inside the computer, and it was fantastical. It was unique. It was different. And now that you've grown up with computers over all these years, it's less fantastical. It kind of ruins some of the mystique.
Yeah, we had Tron Day a couple of days ago, and my two roommates and I, we all sat on the couch. Like two roommates, my girlfriend and I, we all sat on the couch, watched it, and I'm the only one who had actually seen it before. Two roommates were asleep halfway through the movie. It was just, and me, I've seen it twice prior already. So this is my third time seeing it, and I was still into it. I was still just watch it just to kind of see the special effects. I was actually more interested in that and trying to remember what the story was, with the intent of going to see Tron Legacy right after it. And so we went out, and I fell asleep halfway through the new one. I have no idea what the hell the middle of the story was all about. It just made no sense to me.
Right. There should be a list of movies that Hollywood should just not be able to touch.
It should be like sports. You should be able to retire a number.
Yes, you're absolutely right. You should just be able to retire a movie, and it cannot be touched. It cannot be remade or rebooted or sequelized in any way, shape, or form. So what goes on that list? What goes on the list of things that should not be touched? What movies are we going to retire?
Theatrical release of Star Wars.
Yeah, George.
Don't you dare touch Labyrinth.
Labyrinth. Okay.
Don't touch
Enter the Dragon.
Enter
Don't
the
touch
Dragon.
Dark Crystal. Those are the two other movies that in your mind are so much better than you'll ever be able to get out of it if you watch it again.
I'd like to make sure that nobody fucks with The Godfather. Just leave those alone now. Remaking The Godfather would be sacrilege of the highest order. I would like to have all sequels of all Indiana Jones movies halted.
Shawshank.
Perfect. Shawshank should not be touched.
Midway. Did you ever watch the Memorial Day TBS shit? Fucking Midway, Tora, Battle of the Bulge.
All right.
Bridge over River Kwai.
Bridge over the River Kwai. Nice.
Full Metal Jacket while we're on it.
Full Metal Jacket. Perfect.
The first half.
The Paris Island bit, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Movie should have ended there.
Agreed. Lord of the Rings.
Well, that movie shouldn't have been made in the first place.
Don't start with me, Ganthorn. Those movies were awesome.
No.
Those movies were awesome. All three of them.
Absolutely not.
Now you and me have to fight.
How about Back to the Future, the first one, and just how about we just get the second and the third one, just make them disappear.
Yeah, just wipe them clean from the record, right?
Make pretend like they never happened.
Agreed.
Yep.
Agreed. I would like to put a freeze on Die Hards now. If I had to live through the mess that was Live Free or Die Hard, can we just stop already?
They should have stopped after the first one.
Agreed. But let's stop. We don't need to go back to the well anymore. We're done. Okay.
We need to open up our celebrity consulting business to Hollywood.
I believe that's what we're doing right now. It's the four listeners' house of celebrity consulting is consulting on the list of things that should not be touched.
Right. You know what? They should just email us the script if they have gotten that far, or even just the general plan of the gist of what they want to remake, and we'll say yes or no.
We can be like the judges in American Idol. They come, they pitch to us, and we can tell them yes or no. Right?
That's a good idea. I mean, 99% of it will probably be no, but...
Right. So Zeth can be the Simon Cowell, I'll be the dog, and Corey can be Paul Abdul.
I prefer to be Jennifer Lopez. Thank you very much.
All right, knock yourself out.
I would knock myself out playing with my tits and ass.
There you go.
I'd be all over myself.
So there you have it. Leave shit alone. Don't fuck with the classics. Come up with something new.
Yeah.
Thanks for giving us a listen. Thanks for giving us a download. Check us out on the iTunes and in Facebook at facebook.com/4listeners and at 4listeners.com. We'll post links to the two diagrams, so the sequel diagram and the remake lists that we were referring to, so that you can all look and post your thoughts on how bad Hollywood is gone. And check us out next week.
See you, everybody.
I get a feel stranger, it feels